Stritto, talking about movies.
Frank, we just had Nelson Slater on by phone.
Hey, and a music guy, I assume.
A beatnik from Syracuse University, hung out with Lou Reed and Delmore Schwartz, and we were talking about the Mayan calendar, and he's really well versed on a lot of this esoteric stuff.
Okay, well, the world didn't end. Did we miss it by a couple of days, or is it over?
No, and Nelson said that we're on the curve of a new enlightenment, and it should be a lot more positive. Although he did have some doom and gloom there mixed in, but he says things are very positive and up. So it was a unique program to end the year with.
I must say you sound a bit humbled, so I assume he was very touching.
Well, it's interesting to be friends with these people that you bought their records back in the 70s, you know, so 40 years later, it's hard to grasp that you can actually phone them, that they're on your cell and you can call any time. It really is humbling.
All right. Well, that's great.
It'd be like you dialing up Hitchcock or Zemeckis anytime you want, you know?
Yeah, I guess you could do that if you had the number, but I've never tried.
Facebook, my friend.
Okay. Well, I haven't. I'm waiting until I retire to get into the social media because it's just too high a mountain to climb right now.
Well, I'll just tell you this. We had Anthony DeCurtis from Rolling Stone on the show, thanks to Facebook. And Alan O'Day talked to me. He wrote Undercover Angel, a big hit record. Mm-hmm. He has a couple of hits, a few of them. And he'll be on the show eventually, but we finally touched base by telephone. And it's kind of amazing to have these people that are, so well known now on Facebook, and they pick and choose who they'll talk to. So it is humbling when they pick up the phone and call you, you know?
All right. Well, congratulations.
Thank you, Frank. And how was your Christmas?
I'm not a holiday guy, and the good thing about Thanksgiving is you can get the big meal out of the way, and you got a 3-day weekend to recover. The downside of Christmas is you get the big meal, and you got to be at work the next day. So,
wasn't that strange? And it'll happen again next year. They should have had 2 days in a row, 25 and 26, 2 days off.
Yeah, I guess the British do it right because Boxing's a legal. Boxing Day, the 26th, is a legal holiday over there. And I think they got it right because no one's going to be in shape to come back on the 26th. Everybody's going to go by half speed, so let's give them a holiday anyway and take it from them someplace else. Fascinating.
So now tomorrow night we've already reviewed. What's tomorrow night? Do you remember? It's not prehistoric.
It's Woman in the Window, right? No, excuse me. Scarlet Street.
Scarlet Street, right. Okay, so we reviewed that last week.
We reviewed that last week, and that's tomorrow. And next week you're having what you're calling Chaplin shorts, so I assume you have the shorter versions of the 3 movies you're going to show, and that's Tilly. And these are the oldest movies that I think you have shown since I've been working with you. The next oldest one, the one you've shown previously, was Shoulder Arms, another Charlie Chaplin film, 1918, and now you're going to have 3 from 1914, 1915. So you're getting way back there, and I think if your viewers will watch the 3 films together, you'll see something good happening. That is, in the first, I think you're showing them in chronological order, which means the first one you'll be showing is Tilly's Punctured Romance, and that has Chaplin, but does not have the Tramp. The Tramp doesn't exist yet. And the second one, a burlesque on Carmen, kind of has the Tramp, but the third one, Shanghai, is Charlie Chaplin as the Tramp. So you'll see that character emerging as you watch the 3 films, and of course the Tramp is the character that Chaplin will play through most of his remaining films in one form or another. Sometimes, usually, billed as the Tramp, but sometimes not. But he's always the same character. So you'll see him in the first film not having this character at all. In the last film, the character emerges more or less full-bloomed, and in the middle, you'll have a transitional one. So that's the historical interest of these things. I looked up the running times, but there are shortened versions of each film, so I don't know. The Tilly's Punctured Romance can run well over an hour, so I don't know what version you're showing. Burlesque and Carmen has something like a half-hour version and then something like 45-minute version. I imagine you're showing the shorter one, but I don't know. And Shanghai is 27 minutes. So add them all up, you've got about probably 2 hours of Chaplin, maybe 2 hours plus, depending on what version you're showing. And but again, keep in mind the evolution. You'll see a work in progress. Tilly's Punctured Romance is the last Chaplin movie that Chaplin did not direct. After that, whenever he was on screen, he was the director. And as I'm saying that, I said, "Ooh, he's going to ask me who the director is." And off the top of my head, I don't know, so I better look that up. And
no, I wasn't going to ask that, but I find it amazing that these films start 99 years ago as we enter the new year.
Yep. Okay, so 1914, yeah. So in a week, we can officially call Tilly's Punctured Romance 99 years old, and that's also the same year that Chaplin made his first movie, so his career will be 99 years old. The director, by the way, is, I should have known, Max Sennett, and Max Sennett made a lot of the Chaplin early comedies. And think about Sennett and Chaplin. Chaplin formed his tramp character and immediately started outgrowing his medium, which was short films, 10, 15 minutes long, and then they got longer, and then after 1922, he's making only feature-length films. Max Sennett, who was the king of comedy, who was one of the most important men in the entertainment world in America, about the time these movies were made, in 10 years will be passé because he never got out of the shorts. He didn't think there was a future for feature-length films, and boy, was he wrong. So Hal Roach was one of his latter-day competitors. Roach made shorts with Laurel and Hardy, and then he graduated into feature-length films and had a long career doing that. But Max Sennett never got out of the shorts, and therefore history would leave him behind in 10, 15 years, depending on how you count it, from the time these movies are made.
Fascinating stuff. But Sennett, working with Charlie Chaplin, two giants. Today, the kids today really don't know Chaplin the way they discover Hitchcock.
That's right, and to be honest, because silent films are hard to play for any audience. They're hard to play for me. I mean, they need a music track. So a lot of the actors that had their primes in silent films are never going to have a resurgence because I just don't think the medium can come back.
See, now I think that there is a way. I think that as we get more savvy with the technology, the kids will start taking these public domain films and putting voices to them. Stop action. They will make the films longer. They can add to them. There's so much that can be done. These silents could become classics again.
You may be right. I think if that happens, some of the silent screen people will be rolling over in their graves in anger. But we'll see. I mean, time will prove one of us right or wrong, but I think the sun is set on silent movies.
Well, along these lines, for Christmas, Sony Music sent me a new Jimi Hendrix album. The guy's been gone how many years? 42 years, going on 43, right? Mm-hmm. What happened, Frank, back in the day, Alan Douglas started taking the masters and overdubbing current musicians and removing some of Hendrix's players, okay? Mm-hmm. This new album restores takes with the original Hendrix band, and it's really amazing stuff. So as they're putting all that back together, I just see the correlation between this music and the film industry, that there will be new processes to take this information and make it, enhance it for a new age, 100 years later.
Behind what you're saying is a topic we have discussed before, and I can't put my finger on it, but
Shakespeare, and how the scripts came from the actors who had to remember them because they were never written down.
Okay. Well, that's not where I was going, but that's a good point as well.
So like Shakespeare, this Chaplin stuff, I think, will reemerge someday as like the Shakespeare of the film era.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to reemerge. He is hardly, I mean, the kids don't know him, but kids don't know anybody from more than, a few decades ago until they get a bit older. But, I mean, Chaplin is hardly forgotten. Chaplin is not, there's no lost Chaplin out there.
No, and I'm sure there are books out there that sell quite well, because he is a story.
But the point I want to get to, Joe, is that some artists, some actors, date better than others. And the works of some artists date better than some of their other works. And you brought up Hitchcock. Some of his movies, like Notorious and the North by Northwest, they seem as fresh today as the day they were made. Some of his films, like The Trouble with Harry and Shadow of a Doubt, less so shadow of a doubt than some of the others. I mean, you watch them and you say, you get the feeling, I've seen this before and I've seen it done better.
And on that note, Happy New Year, Frank. Thank you so much.
Okay, I was just going to make my point. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, next year.
Okay, bye-bye. Have a happy New Year.
Yeah, the views and opinions on Visual Radio are those of the host and his guests, and not necessarily those of WinCam. Thank you, WinCam, staff, and members. Happy New Year. Final show of the year.